Yo, peace and love, everybody. This is AI News with AI Eric, and you know I'm all about artificial intelligence. And today we got a very special guest, one of my mentors, Stephen Pullum, who's definitely making a lot of things happen for me in a good way. Introduced me to his daughter, and she's definitely making some moves. Her name is Stephanie Luna, and I'll read something to you. You know, she has worn many hats throughout her life from her early days in entertainment, sports, and promotion management to serving as an Army reservist during Hurricane Katrina and later navigating the world of business as an entrepreneur. Stephanie's story is one of resilience, transformation, and a pursuit of purpose. She's worked across industries from hospitality to client management and even ventured into education and the corporate sector. What truly sets her apart is her ability to blend her experiences with AI literacy and education, making technology more accessible to communities who have been historically left behind. So today, Stephanie is here to share her insights on overcoming barriers in tech, the role of AI in underrepresented communities, and how she uses NLP to empower small businesses and independent artists. Now, let me just say one thing. NLP for us is natural language processing as far as machine learning and artificial intelligence. This is a little different in her world, but it also eventually blends in because it's going to have to. So today we're going to dive into a fascinating conversation on basically how AI and NLP can empower, inclusion, how ethics play a role into this and everything. So I'm going to bring Stephanie on right now.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello.
Good to be here. Yes.
Stephanie Luna, y'all. So Stephanie, we was just on talking about how you felt about you know you making sure that we represent our communities. Me myself,
Right.
I'm also passionate about making sure that we use artificial intelligence to represent represented, not just underrepresented communities, just Black and brown people in general, even businesses and office and office, our areas are, because there's some businesses that have 30, 40 employees,
Right.
and in our circles that these big companies, they're not looking at them. They can have 200 and 300 employees, and these big companies, they're not looking at them. So I know for me, I'm all about helping everybody, but I am on a special and particular mission to bring up Black and brown people because of the wealth gap. So
Of
um,
course.
my first question to you is just tell us about your career journey and what led you to become an NLP practitioner, and don't say exactly what it is yet. As far as that's the second question, exactly what is it?
Tricky, tricky. Okay. So I started my journey out of high school. I was just hanging around after senior year, trying to figure out what I was going to do in life. And I just got the brilliant idea that I was going to be in the Army Reserves. And my grandma was like, oh no, because you don't even like to get dirty. And I said, okay, well, I'm just going to pick the dirtiest job just to prove you wrong. And that has been my career objective ever since, I became of age. It was proving people wrong. So I went into the military as a 44 Bravo. For those who know, I know it's been phased out. It's a metal worker. So I did auto body repairment. And while I was a reservist, I went to school for entertainment, sports, and promotion management. So that is doing street teams, focus groups for Def Jam. We passed out mixtape. Yeah. I can't, I won't, I'll never forget one of the first focus groups that we did. It was a little known artist, and she was singing about no love, and that artist became Janae. So yeah, that was back in the gap. We were all babies at that time. I did a couple of writing camps, songwriting camps, and I had an experience that changed my life and really made me refocus what it is I wanted to do in that field. And that insecurity coupled with Hurricane Katrina, it really shaped my vision or my pathway, and it made me come to realize that I was not in alignment with what I was doing versus where I wanted to go. Because it only took one natural disaster, it only took one major deployment to knock me off my goals. So I said, let me go active duty. So, with the blessings of my unit, I was able to go to Fort Hood, which is now Fort Cavarsis. Cavalis is one of them. And I just went further and further from who I wanted to be. And after I went active duty, found a partner, had a child, and that made me drift further away from music, which was my first love. So after that ended, which it should, I had to really sit down and think who I wanted to be. But sometimes when you're on the path of who you want to be, it doesn't align with what I'm going to put in my belly. Okay. So,
Yeah.
so
That's where we are today in life.
right. And a lot of us don't know who we want to be because there's such a insecurity and shortage of things, opportunities, and resources to get us there. I mean, that gap has further expanded. It's not how it used to be in the early 2000s. And a lot of students, even when they graduate from college, they don't have that same job security that we had, coming out of school. So,
This is really deep already. So I gotta go.
right,
I gotta rewind now because
you got
this
it.
is this is gonna be deep for y'all. Pay attention. So let's go way back before even the first question.
Mm,
Uh, like, who are you? Where you from? Where was you born? Before you
yeah,
even got thinking, like, I know
yes.
you basically told like started off and I started off kind of like after that, but now I need to know you was born in New York.
Oh no. I was born in a little city. Y'all may have heard of it lately called Shreveport, Louisiana.
Mm,
And I grew up, well, first, my dad was in the military. So we grew up everywhere. I grew up in Lincoln, Nebraska. We were going to go to Sicily. Um, but
mm.
adults do what adults do. And we ended up in a little podunk town in a deep East Texas region called Jefferson, Texas. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. That's my bad, y'all. Sorry.
That's why Steven sound so country.
Yes, exactly. Because we are country people.
Yeah, I'm when when I first was having a conversation with him, I before when I first before I knew what he looked like, he was like going back and forth on LinkedIn with me. I was like, wow, this dude sound like he kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? And just from the way he was writing me, like as we first like I guess was introducing ourselves. But then I asked him to be on the podcast and he had no problem with it because I was like, damn, this guy got 1,000 certificates on everything that you need to have a
Of
certificate on.
course.
And so what happened was he was like, cool, I told you I got you. And when I spoke, he had called me because I guess the link was messed up. And I swear to God, I was like, this dude sound like he from New Orleans or some shit. I didn't know where he was from at first.
Close.
I was like, it's kind of he talks so fast too. I'm like, I can't. Sometimes I got to figure out what he's saying. But I told somebody, man, I said I spoke to him on the phone. I said, man, he was cursing. I said, yo, he sound like I was cursing too because I guess the vibe was there. And I was like, yo, this dude is real cool. You know what I'm saying? And then one day we did the video. So, but yeah, he told me his story about, being all over, got mad awards in the certificate in the military. So you would assume that the kids also will end up like you did. So basically, you are a army's baby, a military
You
baby.
got it, that military brat.
Wow. So, all right. So, how did you end up in New York in the entertainment industry?
Well,
Because
I
let me
wasn't in New York.
before you even answer that question, your
Mhm.
dad, yo, he done sent me our first podcast. I had to put the how you like me now, Kumo D. That shit got
Yeah.
blocked on it got blocked on YouTube. That part right there.
Mm,
But
yep.
you wanted, and yo, I was like, yo, why did you want that in there? And then after that, all he kept doing is just doing mad hip hop stuff. And like I told you before, I'm older, yes, but I just like new music. You know what I'm saying? But
Me too.
go ahead. So
Y'all need to
that's
give
how
these young people a
that was
chance.
very
These new artists are brilliant. And I'm
yeah.
an advocate for, of course, independent artists, but these new artists are gifted.
So
But
how'd you end up in New York in the entertainment industry?
well, I wasn't in New York. I
Okay.
went between LA and actually Texas is a big hub for music as well.
Oh,
Texas, Nashville. Texas has the
oh,
live
gotcha.
music capital of the United States, which is Austin. And I'm always
Mm.
rep Austin to the day I die. But
I need you to mention that one more time because a lot of people don't know that. You
hmm
would just think New York and LA. So we do know because country music is the biggest money maker and has always been in music in the world.
always.
They take a big portion. That's why their music awards is much bigger. So what you're
Right.
saying is they've always been a music hub of music. So that's where you was?
Yes, yes. Austin, between Austin and LA, occasionally New York, but that's more of assignment based stuff. Um, and believe it or not, a lot of these parent companies that are in other states like New York have field offices, as you would say, including the Grammy associations. They have field offices all over the United States just to
Mm,
service artists better.
mm,
So, yeah, I went to school, I specialized in it. Actually, the school that I went to is a private university, but that program was also offered at a public level. So it's a big thing. Agents are important, managers are important. A lot of times when these people get on, they have their family and their friends rep them, and it always leads to um, some type of mistreatment some type of mistreatment. But when you are, I say this, sometimes, you have to balance it out 50% street smarts, 50% book smarts. And there's always a balance in all things, always a duality in all things. When things veer over to one side or the other in extreme, it leaves room for mistreatment. So I I I honor the schooling that I did get. I honor the opportunity that it did present to me because I don't believe that I would have been able to touch the people that I was able to touch on that bigger scale. But at the same time, a lot of that stuff I learned in the streets. So you have to be book smart and street smart.
yeah.
But going back to where we grew up, yeah, we're not that. It's an interesting mix. It's an interesting balance because you have Louisiana on one side, and then you got Texas on the other side. So you have Louisiana about 45 minutes from you, and then the nearest city, Tyler, is also 45 minutes. So that bayou culture, that bayou atmosphere just creates some type of magic. Some type of
Mm.
magic. I know M. Night Shyamalan just recently did a movie based on the area that we did grow up in, but there's not a lot of things out here. It's very slow. My dad said people come here to retire and die. basically. Retire and die. Um, because it's just really encapsulated in time. But bringing it back to minority communities, this area, especially for minorities, has always had this feeling of lack. And some people hear lack and they think it's a bad thing. It's not always a bad thing, lack, because especially with Black people and Hispanic people and, minority people, lack breeds invention. Lack breeds invention. When we are shut out of things, we find ways to get around those things. And oftentimes it revolutionizes the country. So I believe in having those conversations with my dad. I believe that's what he felt. In the area in which we grew up in, there weren't a lot of people interested in computers. There was as we were getting to know each other, and I gave you my summary. Um, when things are introduced, especially technology is introduced to people, um, people have a skepticism. People have a fear to it, especially you see it now with AI. People have a fear to it. The example that I use was books. When the printing press was available, it caused so much hysteria. It led to the inquisitions. So, not when knowledge or when there's an acceleration or an overwhelming force of knowledge, um, it brings hysteria. And like I said, the only way
Why?
you can,
Why do you think that
why
is?
does it, huh? You know what? I think you should go to the second question. Because we're going to bring that around town.
Um, are we in our comfort zone? So the second question that is
Hmm.
second question basically is what exactly is neuro Louis linguic pronounce it for me,
I
please.
got you. Neuro linguistic programming. So these two scientists, and they were computer scientists, and they were playing around with systems and programming, and it was like, we wonder if this can apply to the human brain, right? So when they did their studies, when they did their search or their research within these processes that we have, and how we process things is through neurology, through our nervous systems and stuff. And our nervous system, our inputs and our outputs are seeing, tasting, touching, hearing, um, and touching, right? That's
Is
how
it
we process
four,
information.
four
Five.
sense? Is it five?
Five senses. So seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, right? That's how we process information. That's how we process our environment. That's how we see the world, is basically baked into that phrase, see the world, how we see the world. And when we have those experiences, that's also how we perceive the world. And um, I don't know if I can say this, if this is too off kilter. That's how white people have been getting ahead. They created this book called The Secret, right? And what was the secret, right? It was changing your perception, changing the way you process information. That's
Incredible.
what that's what neuro linguistic programming is. It's retraining, reframing those unwanted thoughts to an outcome that is going to suit you. And we do that through language, because that's how we communicate. That's how we take in all our senses and, you know, express them. So, how would the way we communicate appeal to AI or what me seeing, smelling, doing uh, has to do when I got a kid to feed. You know, what does my smell have to do with that?
No.
Well, when we process these experiences, like when someone smokes, it's habitual, right? When someone overspends, it's habitual. It's something that happens over time in repetition. Um, when we get into neuro linguistic practices, and some people simplify it and call it manifestation or affirmational work. If you're in one of those hoity toity rounds, um, we're reframing our thought. Even if something is coming our way and it's out of the program, we know how to instinctively restructure our thinking. So let's say I am an emotional eater, and every time I feel sad, I go for the Twinkie, right? Again, repetitive, habitual stuff based on senses. Now, what if I reframe it? Say, hey, I'm sad, but that's okay. How about I go for this grape and then take a walk and maybe scream out in nature? That's reprogramming. So, that one example that I gave y'all yesterday, right? It's really hard to retrain a no. It's really hard to retrain a negative, right? And I'm gonna use that example again, where I'm going to tell you, no matter what you do, don't think of a purple elephant. What's the first thing you do?
Yeah.
You think of that purple elephant. It's really hard to retrain a no. So what if
But you know
your
what I just did? I thought of a
uh-huh,
green elephant.
but you knew what was
I already
coming.
know. I already know. Right. Right. But because of that, from now on, even moving forward, I'll know how to quickly, because what you're
Re-
saying is deep. And I'm just gonna cut you off real quick.
you got it.
And anybody who actually, when you listen to this and hear everything she just said, this is exactly the way they train robots,
Hmm.
even with the five senses. They might not have. They actually do basically have them because people don't think, well, how can they smell? That's just little things they put it that they. That's just little things they put in where they
That's
know
a
what this.
different type of programming.
That's a different type of programming, but they have them. Like they can sense,
Hmm.
smell, and they. And
What
because
is,
my man, how do they got
mhm.
a conscience? I said, well,
Well,
shit. If you put them somewhere, they know what's there. They know that's a tree. They know not to fall off this cliff. Like that's a conscience. Like
what is consciousness exactly? How do we define conscious, and where did we get that definition from?
that is true.
Hmm.
That is true. Because when you look in ChatGPT 3, 3.5, and 4, you always in the beginning you seen it says consciousness, reasoning, speed. And I used to be like, consciousness, reasoning. How the hell a, a robot that's inside of a computer? Like, but that's what they have. They have it as that. And it's just bugged out listening to what you're saying because they're using this whole method to build robots. Everything you're saying, as far as your part, as far as the natural
Neuro linguistic programming.
neuro
We
linguistic,
gonna
like
get it. We gonna get
we are
it.
before so it's hard. Some words I just can't say.
No, you got
Um,
it.
like yeah, so man, it's a scary. We're in a scary place. So let me ask you this:
Mm.
how does your work with small businesses, and how does your work blend in to be able to help people, and what type of people do we need to help with your type of work in LP?
Yes. Well, one of the things is we start with framework. Um, if you work with me, and I work with about 6 to 7 independent artists right now, one of the big things that I advocate is framework. I'm a busy person. I don't have a lot of time to be a full-fledged manager, music manager, or a business manager. So I do a lot of a la carte services. But before we get to promotions, before we get to any anything else, anything on a grander schedule like promo schedules and music drops and all that stuff, the people that I like to work with are people who are invested in their framework and
What's framework?
your foundational stuff, like getting your I'm going to tell my trade secrets, but I do it anyway. But I do it anyway. I sit on the phone with artists for about an hour or two, and I go through all of this. You need to get your EIN. You need to register your business. You need to get your sales tax permit. You need to get all these structural things on the ground level so that you can move on and get those bigger things. Because what happens when artists aren't about their business, when small businesses aren't about that structural, that framework, that foundational stuff, um, they tend to get mistreated when it comes to artistry. Um, they a lot of them get, and that's a long story. And but you see it a lot of times. If you are a music connoisseur or you know music, you know that they get contracts. Sometimes it's a 360 contract. They have this new thing called a 720 contract, and go on and on about that. But they get a 360 contract and they're like, well, they're giving me all this money on the front end, and that's all I care about, all the money on the front end. But let's say they give you $2 million, and they want 6 albums from you, right?
Dang, for $2 million? Damn,
Mm-hmm. They want 6 albums
you done
from you.
sold your soul to the devil
It's oh my gosh.
at two
Uh,
million dollars, and you broke, and you've been broke all your life. You were like 6 albums. I could do that in
yeah,
2 years, and it's gonna
but
take 6 years.
you gotta pay for everything. You gotta pay for your entourage. You gotta pay for your manager. You gotta pay
And
for
that
your
2 million,
stylist,
oh
and then
man,
you just sunk.
taxes,
You just
taxes.
you just sunk a quarter
You
million
sold your
into your
soul.
house.
Mm, mm,
You
mm.
gotta keep up with the
You gotta buy the
Joneses.
jewels, or you gotta spend
You
a hundred
gotta, you
thousand, two
gotta,
hundred thousand on
you
the
gotta.
jewels.
So
You broke after that.
let's say you on album one, maybe you inked out album one or two, and now you still owe the record label 4 albums. You still owe the record label 4 albums, and you broke. And they said, "Oh, we gonna front you
Yeah,
an
yeah.
additional,
We'll give you
you know,
five because
we
we know
gonna
you got four for us, and you was a hit. You did a
yeah,
hit, couple of hits in
give us
those two
one
albums.
more. We'll give you
Yeah,
the million. Give us
yeah.
one more, but we also want these type of royalties. We want your publishing, we want your songwriting royalties, we want your mechanical rights, we want all that, all that. Give us all that. Well, when you have your foundation correct, then you know before you sign that contract, oh, I know I can go to, well, if you're in Texas, I can go to TALA. I can go to the Texas Association of Lawyers, or, and I forgot what the A means. And TALA is this low to no cost um, lawyer service for artists. Um, I'm trying to produce an album, but I don't have the revenues, but I can go to the Texas Music Office because Texas has a state sponsored um, agency just for musicians. And they give you everything you need to know from that website, yet barely 5% of musicians know of it, right?
Mm.
And they have healthcare through ham. They have a credit service. They'll even put your music on a sync licensing library so that when movies come to shoot, or movies want to look for music to accompany their movies, they can go to this state, site, and review the music that's been cataloged into this free
Hmm.
library for
Wow.
musicians.
That's
But
dope.
how would you know as an artist? That's when
Different,
competent
different
managers come
industry.
in.
Yeah.
That's when competent managers come in. So, and that's the same thing with small businesses. When you have your framework together, then let's say I'm a small business, I don't know what I'm doing. I have a product, I'm gonna just put it out there. I made $1 million, but I didn't register for my state permit tax and they penalized me. I didn't register, I didn't pay my taxes and they penalized me. I didn't register and somebody stole my name and I didn't trademark my stuff. So somebody stole my name and they started, you know, copying my stuff. And then now they sell it and they registered it. And now I no longer have access rights to it. Um, that's why it's important to get that framework together. Now, let's say I have an idea for some type of AI processing, right? Let's say somebody said that. Let's say and there is an app for that, but I want AI to create an exercise program based on a person's BMI. Well, then what are the things that I need to do to make sure that nobody takes this, that this is my own intellectual property, that I would be able to actually put this together, right? You would need some type of competency, you would need some type of AI literacy. I think that answered the question, right? I just go off on
Yeah, well, you
tangents sometimes.
definitely, because things that come from machine learning models, um, it has to be very unique in order for you to say you own it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
It has to be
Mm-hmm.
very unique. And there are some rules that you'll have to understand from AI and machine learning. And it's simple. You know, you can own certain things, but like I said, it has to be unique because, you know, if anybody can get it, and if if it has been used and done and said before, it's very difficult
Mm.
because if you are using artificial intelligence, particularly machine learning models, and you have to have it 100% accurate, AL's probably not the best way to go.
Mm.
You have to have it where it doesn't have to be 100% accurate, but we need to check it, fact check it, like we can use it. So when it comes to medical, you might not want to 100% rely on AL machine learning models. You might want to go more into deep learning, and then you still
Mm.
careful with that because you still have to kind of, it's very, very iffy when it comes to, that's why so many people are so reluctant on 100% and just transferring over, because we have a lot of data that's important and we really need to understand. So that's what I'm saying. This is not going to happen overnight, but it has to happen because the companies that don't end up incorporating AI into their systems, they are going to fail.
Mm.
The ones that have incorporated it all the way have shown better productivity as far as sales, as far as accuracy and numbers. Because if you take a business that has 1,000 different locations around the world, and you need to be able to, like, it was used to be where every quarter you would get the numbers, and just imagine trying to get all the numbers of all these places.
Right.
But now today, a CEO can be in his office and go to an AI program and say, do this for me now. And AI can actually go through, if it's all connected, these systems in a matter of hours and give you, and sometimes minutes, and give you what in the old way, which was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, would have taken months to be able to give you numbers for all 1,000 locations.
And I have an anecdote for that. When I was in my stages where I was doing multiple side jobs and side quests, what I used to call them, I used to do content writing for a major company. And what we would do is we would get orders from companies, and they say, yo, can you create a blog about AC units? And we would get what would be like 3 cents a word or something like that. And it just, as long as you're a good writer, it was very good, you know. Almost overnight that job shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because AI models had become, or a generative AI
Mm-hmm.
platforms became popular. So it totally wiped out my whole
Mm-hmm.
side hustle. I was like, oh man, now I gotta beat the street and drop off some Uber Eats or something. So
A lot of people don't know there's so many other up jobs that's going to happen, and a lot of people don't know. Like Mark Zuckerberg said the other day, he was like, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be out of work. He said, and they can find
mm,
other things to do, recreational things. He said, but my thing is, where they gonna get money from? If they don't got a job. And then he talked about how work hours for physical work are going to go down and down and down. And he talked about how, but some people are going to be productive, and some people's lives, they're going to work hard and they're going to be very productive in life. Why? Because they're going to have the tools that they need,
right.
and the tools are AI tools.
And it takes adaptability. And then bringing that around to minority communities, we are historically known for adaptability. So we always, again, it goes back to whenever there is a lack, we have innovation. So we always know how to adapt. But in this upcoming market, they have, or some people's narratives have been, well, AI is working against us. And when we make AI an
I'm
integral
giving you the
part.
floor. I'm going to give you the floor because your dad got mad at me when I did this last time. I could
Oh,
just
what's
got to.
that? Oh, I am a kinder, gentler Pullum. You
Oh,
do
he got
not
mad.
have
I
to.
gave him the floor. He kept saying, Eric, where you at? Where you at? Keep talking. I'll give you the floor.
No,
Um,
no, no, no. No. You had asked me a question. Why do you think it is that people are hesitant or even scared of technological advances? And I gave that one example of the printing press, which led to the inquisitions and the witch hunts and all that stuff. Well, one thing that we do, or a method that gets us acclimated to technological advances, I just said, it is acclimation. And recently, in the recent centuries, it has been through media. Um, for example, um, I said one example was we there's this principle that we've seen everything before. We've seen everything before, and how we make innovation is through multiversal learning or something like that. And then how did we get acclimated to the multiverse, right? Well, we got acclimated to the multiverse through first comics. They started talking about the multiverse from Marvel DC. And then we got it again in, so it was print media, and now it's movies and television. They talk about the multiverse. So now it's possible. One of my favorite authors used to be Philip Dix. And if anybody knows Philip Dix, his works were turned into Total Recall. They were turned into what is that other? AI movie. A bunch the all the AI, oh, A Scanner Darkly.
Mm,
And that has something to do with the drug crisis that he saw and that now we see it about rehabilitation centers and all that stuff and the prison complex system too, if you really look into the book.
mm.
So a lot of his works that he
I
made
know
in the
about
night.
the prison complex system.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So a lot of his works that he made are now being realized. So that is the whole theme and principle of the multi-verse theory, is that our imagination is pulling from realities that already exist, but we are getting a glimpse of it through our imagination, and we are making it come to fruition
Right.
in real life.
This is going to be major, major, major in the augmented reality world because it is already. This is one of the main things that is going to push people's lives. People are going to be living lives in different universes that some
Mm,
people don't even know exist. But that's going to be a problem because people are not going to be living in the reality. Some people are going to be getting caught up in these universes. Like right now, they say I think they got 40% of the world are gamers online. They say
mm.
80%. That's crazy. They saying it's going to be 80%, and that's really crazy to me. But as far as the augmented reality part of this, we are going to be living in different universes. Like some people are going to be going home because there's some people are not going to have jobs. Like there's going to be a time where there's not going to be jobs. So you could wake up, do whatever you want. You're going to be getting a check from the government. You buy whatever you want to buy. But the ones that have basically set up themselves to live in these augmented reality worlds are going to be create different worlds. Some of them are going to be perverted. Some of them are going to be
Mm.
some of them going to be holistic. Some of them are going to be chilling with lions. Some of them are going to be fighting lions. Like it's going to be whatever you want it to be, depending on if your heart can take it. But what's going to happen is, are these worlds going to be monitored? Because if you look at Roblox right now, the game, I looked at a lot
Mm.
of that Roblox actually has. It has murders, had people getting murdered and raped and killed. And these are games that these kids are playing. And also
Oh,
these games that predators go to find and prey on little kids. And
oh,
they meet up
please let me know because my
with
son
Roblox.
loves
Oh,
Roblox.
oh, he does.
Yes, he
You know he's
plays.
playing with he's playing with adults though. You do know that, right?
There is a parental,
It is. They just put that in place though.
yeah, like a year or so ago.
They
Yeah.
just yeah, they did. They just but the thing about it too though, do you do but so one thing I do hear a lot is there's parental, but most parents don't do them.
Oh, I have to. My son is
You
extremely intelligent.
particularly with that game, make sure you do because
Oh
that
yeah.
game, a lot of predators are on that game, and there's a lot of violence on that game
Mm.
that y'all don't know about as parents because y'all ain't playing the game, but the kids be
Oh
knowing.
yeah, I have my own account. He tries to find me,
Okay,
and
okay,
yeah,
so
I'm a mama bear through and through,
You
and
never
I
seen
am
the
not scared of
videos?
technology.
Have you ever seen the videos where like a teenager will pop up at a kid's house and they didn't even know it was a kid though? But even them,
Oh
they
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know. They be like, I didn't know. It's just I didn't know. Like, cause there's no way, I guess, to know the age or whatever. So people have to be careful. But what I'm saying
Can I
that to
say
say,
this online? They better not pop
Mhm.
over here. I got a pow pow pew pew.
So a lot of people, yeah. So the augmented reality is going to be big. I have
Mm.
vertigo real bad, so I can't put the headsets on. But I can't wait for them to come to the regular glasses because that's what we're going to have. We're going to be communicating through our glasses. People don't even
They
know we're
already
going.
got that going on. Who
Yeah,
was it? Meta. Meta
yeah.
is
But
seems to be leading
I
a
want
lot
the
of
ones
this.
where you can actually, you can actually buy the ones now that where I can move my screens, but I'm gonna wait until maybe Meta, one of them. Meta's supposed to be coming out with theirs. I'm gonna wait for theirs to come
Hmm.
out. Apple
And
messed
the
up by coming out.
headsets are kind of like that. You can have a virtual desktop on the
Yeah,
Meta Quest, and
I can't with them heads. I can't because I got vertigo.
right, right.
So I
They
have to
have
wait for that.
replicas. They have. Have you heard of replicas?
Mm-mm.
So replicas are the AI individuals. They were first originally created through the phone, and they were your AI companion. So you could make a gentleman or a lady, and you can have them be your friend. And
Oh, you
then if
mean
you pay
replica
a
AI? Replica AI? Oh,
hmm
yeah. That's an avatar. The avatars.
right. But
Yeah.
now they have them in Meta too, so you can kind of
Hmm.
communicate with
But
your
this
replica.
this is a. Let me just. I got to put this video up. This is a problem. This is a problem, y'all.
Mm,
We're going to end up having to have a part 2 to this because I'm gonna take this.
definitely.
I want to take this down, but because we just talking about that, let me go find something real quick. 700. Let me go to 700.
And I actually quit. I got on replica and I pushed my replica, and
Breaking news.
here we go.
I want to put something up real quick. Just
You
check
got
this
it.
out.
You got it.
With Eric and Yo today, talking about AI agents replacing human beings on jobs. So, I always talk about artificial intelligence and the importance of us learning it, particularly Black and brown people, small business. I just want to stop it right there first and see the title. Will your jobs be lost to AI agents, which is exactly what we're actually talking about. AI agents, even though you can make an avatar of yourself. First of all, in the future, y'all, I won't be sitting here, but y'all will see still that person there talking like it's me. It won't be me. He'll be made. These videos will be made at night while I'm sleeping because I'll be on did the script. Businesses, medium-sized businesses, because the corporations that have 100,000 employees or better, they are all investing in artificial intelligence, and billions of dollars are being spent with these big major companies. So it's very important that we all learn what's going on because I want to get straight to you already. I just want to get to this. I want y'all to just check this out, and we're going to elaborate on things as we go.
It's real life. Consumers prefer it because it's actually higher customer satisfaction than the human agent.
You already said customers prefer it. Higher interaction with the customer.
It's faster to use, it's higher quality, and it's having profound impact. But we also believe that society and politicians needs to recognize that this is not something that's going to change in 10 years.
Pay attention to that part. And see, when I keep telling people, they keep thinking, nah, about 10 years. Nah, this is here now. Listen to them.
The implications for society are going to come in the coming years, and it's time to think a little bit proactively about what measures could be taken.
Wow.
So, this man is telling you we don't have to hire the 700 people we normally would have had to hire because we got AI agents now. Salesforce just said that we're not hiring engineers anymore because we're using AI engineers. These AI engineers have icons that look like humans. They actually are just not avatar engineers. They actually are little icons. They got human names. They got where they from, what they're, if they're an engineer, data scientist. Meta just said that in 2025, companies won't have to hire human engineers anymore. Because
so where does that leave us as humans? Because again, our goal is to be human first, and that really doesn't sound like that's human first. It sounds like it's business first.
But that's where we are today in this world we live in.
That's reality. That's
a reality. And that's why I say people have to start really understanding what's going on in this AI world and start really adapting themselves to be acclimated with it. Because I'm not saying that you using ChatGPT is going to save your life, but if you have a business and you're not moving into this world to get a chat bot, automated chat bot to actually get avatars, because if you got a bakery, you can get an avatar to start selling your cakes. No, I mean, nobody knows it's real. The problem is if you don't understand this, you're going to end up chatting with an avatar thinking it's a real person, even though they're supposed to say avatar by AI, whatever, avatar by Meta. You might not even be looking at that, just thinking automatically, because it could be in a corner where you don't see it, but you're thinking you're talking to a real person. I like Tom. And then when your daughter say, Tom, Tom's a robot, Mom. Like, so
I was gonna say people are dating their replicas. Somebody tried to marry their replica.
The boy killed himself. Character AI, 14 years old. I got a video on that. Killed herself. That's the parents are suing character AI.
So the future is here. The future is here.
we have to, as a Black people, get involved and start learning, particularly because of where our median wealth is. Our median wealth in 2050 is going to be zero if we don't get involved. And to be honest with you, I don't even believe we're going to get involved because we don't even think to wake up. We're so caught up in the nonsense. We're so caught up in, you got people crying over TikTok. And I'm not saying Black and brown people. You got just mad people crying over TikTok. But we're focused on the wrong things when these big companies, they're building these machines to not have to hire us because they plan on the work week being 4 days, then 3 days, then 2 days. Only the ones, like they said, who are involved. Like, I'll probably keep a job because I can always consult. I can always educate you on particularly prompting. And when you talked about frameworks, I did like that because when it comes to prompt engineering, we deal with particular type of frameworks, particularly for content creators. There's so many different type of frameworks that I can set your business up with to make prompting easier for you. Instead, I can set you up with template frameworks. You might have something where you have emotional people you have to deal with. So we'll probably deal with a framework that deals with emotions, where you could just follow this and go ahead and put the prompt in, change what you need to change, but this is already set. So now you got 15 frameworks we put together for your business. We put together a thing for prompts where you understand prompting with 4 questions, 3 questions, summary prompts, questionnaire. We'll break it all down to you. So for me,
I wish I could show you a chart, because when we get into neuro-linguistic programming, it's all about framework and prompting.
I know. That's why when you said that, I was like, wow, this is going to be interesting. And that's why I said, we have to do a part 2 on this where I can have more time.
Exactly.
Only thing about these podcasts, when you try to chop them up, when they go past like an hour, because your dad's, I couldn't even get the audio in. I had to chop it up 3 times to just get the audio podcast in. So I was like, I'll never do that again. We have to get more in though, because right now we at least got 15 more minutes. So I want to get someone in on exactly what it is that you do. But then we're going to have to do a part 2 of this. Maybe even a part 3, to be honest with you, to educate.
Look, I am here whenever you need me. This has been fun. I'm not normally a front-facing person. I like to work with systems. I like to work behind the scenes. But, my dad, he really pushed me out of my comfort zone with this one. And I must say that I really had fun. Yes.
Your dad is a special guy, man, because most guys, like, he just gravitated to me, and he seems like he wants me to win. You don't find too many guys that want to see you win because they be haters. Your dad wants to see me win, and he wants to sit in the background and enjoy the thing that he helped, that was a part of it. You know what I'm saying? I like that about him. So let me ask you this.
This is not to be, this is not a negative, but he likes to create people in his image. He likes to create people in his image. And one of those things is he wants to see people succeed and go further than he's gone. Yeah. So that's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
So let me ask you this: challenges as far as NLP, groups faced with it that deal with it, as far as adapting this new technology, as far as AI, how has that been working with NLP? Because artificial intelligence, we know, been around for a long time, but as far as people adapting it, this is recent.
Yes. Well, whenever, again, when we have these advances, when we have these change in narratives and these change in perceptions and realities, a lot of us like to hold to what we know. One of those examples that I used was, we have had an unhealthy fear of things, because a lot of these conspiracies have been rooted into some type of truth, right? You had the Tuskegee Airmen and that experiment. You had Henrietta Lack and the Eve gene. A lot of these technologies or technological advancements have been on the back of minority communities, right? So whenever we hear something, we start, having some type of conspiracy in mind. And one of the big things that is involved in conspiracy right now is media. So the tool for acclamation is media. And then the thing that we are fearing is the media as well. We
Your
don't
dad
trust.
talked about, we've been programmed from television when it talked about programming. So
Yeah,
we've
it's a
been
TV
programmed
program. Yeah,
from, I would say probably the 40s and the 50s, they started programming us.
right. You can even take it back further to Jim Crow, the Jim Crow laws, and that was a type of programming, right? So now we have to reprogram and reframe, right? But some of some people, I was gonna say some of our people, I'm gonna take personal responsibility for those because it's our job to bring them into the light as well. Some of our people are very centered in struggle. And I'm not going to debate where that concept has come from. They're very centered in, well, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because even if I don't get my reward here, I'm going to get it elsewhere, right? I'm going to get it in heaven. I'm going to get it in the afterlife. As
They've been
long as
brainwashed.
I'm long suffering here, you know,
Yeah.
I am going to be rewarded regardless. So we have this unhealthy need to suffer. Like if somebody smacks me, I'm not going to give them the other cheek.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, you gonna get yours and I'm gonna go about my day.
Yeah.
Well, a speech that had been very influential on me, the actor Jesse Williams said, the hereafter is a hustle. I want it now. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And think of, whether right or wrong, think of all the people that have adopted that mentality, right? You can think of the most recent example is President Donald Trump, right? They said, hey, you are faced with felonies. Hey, you have pulled all these resources to benefit you and your bottom line. And he just had a little hint of the Lulu. Was like, yeah, that's not my reality at all. And where did that get him? The highest
Yeah.
position in the
Yeah.
country. So when you look at it from, and I'm not telling you who to vote for, I'm not telling you who to vote against, I'm not telling you any of that, because I am not trying to argue with people. But when you look at it from a neuro-linguistic programming, even if he did it, he was like, no. Even if he did not do it, he was like, no,
They don't
I'm
even
going
care if he did it or not.
Right.
That's the world we live in America we live in. They don't care if he did it or not.
In his reality, he was the president. He is the president.
Yeah.
Even when people were saying, you are not the president, you're not going to get this. And he did it. And why? If you look at it from a neuro-linguistic perspective, just that perspective, because he would not accept a negative reality. He would not accept a negative result.
Yeah.
But what happens in our community when we get a negative result? That's the real question. What happens in our community where they say, hey, you can't do that because of the color of your skin. You can't get into that because they are going to traditionally lock you out. You can't do that because they're going to historically dispossess you and suppress you. My dad was one of those people who have that healthy sense of Delulu. When they said, hey, I'm going to lock you out, he said, and you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
it takes an immense sense of, this is my reality, this is my sphere, I have authority in my sphere. No matter what comes my way societally or through the environment or, through health, I am still centered in what I want. And I have enough adaptability to journey into these fields that are not traditionally seen as fields that minorities would go towards. So it's about reframing thought, and it's also about committing to that reality. Again, the hereafter is a hustle. I want it now.
Yeah.
There is no afterlife. There can be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But for the purposes of getting ahead and moving ahead in life, there is no afterlife. It's now. It's now.
Yeah.
Where do I want to be right now?
Yeah. And today, you really, I hate to say it, when it comes to kids talking about what you want, like when you ask your kid what you want to be, that's out of the equation, because the new world that we live in today is, this is what you have to be. You know what I'm saying? Well, listen, I enjoyed you. This is part 1 of part 3, y'all, because I'm realizing even
part 3.
Yeah, you know why? You know why I realized that? Because I want to keep these to an hour, a little bit, because I need to chop them up and I need the audio so I can have an audio podcast. And I'll also do it with notebook to where I'll have 2 people talking about how we talked about the podcast. And when it's real long, it don't work. So this is going to be part 1, and we didn't get nothing in as far as what we should have gotten in. That's why I know we're gonna need
the meat and potatoes. Yeah, this was just the appetizer.
We're gonna need 3 parts to this. So I want to thank anybody who's watching the chop up versions. We're gonna have the shorts popping out. We're gonna have the live on YouTube. We're gonna have the edited version on YouTube. We're gonna get some traction. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end up taking this, and I'm gonna edit it up, and I'm gonna make a commercial so we can get people ready for part 2. You know what I'm saying? And then we'll schedule that out. And because we didn't really touch on a lot, but we talked about a lot. But I'm like, wow, this is like, we need time. We need time.
Of course. Well, it's been a pleasure, Eric. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to thank you. What last words do you have for people who want to understand NLP one more time, and where can they go to find out what you do, your information, like give people your contact information one more time? What is NLP and how can they use it?
Yes, NLP is reframing and shaping your reality through positive thinking. And that's the simplest breakdown that I have. And yes, positive thinking and affirmational thinking, affirmative thinking, not just positive. You're thinking in the yes, you're thinking in the now. So that's what NLP is.
What do you have? Like, do you?
Yes, I have a website.
Okay, yes. give up that.
My website is www.demiluna.co. And I'll be around shortly. Well, in the coming months, I am going to have my YouTube, but that's more music based. And we'll just talk about it later.
Spell the website name.
Yes, DEM as in Mike, I, Luna, LUN as in November, A. So DEMILUNA.co.
Oh, that's the wrong one. I gotta get the keyboard for now. I gotta have the bootleg joint. Yo, listen, Stephanie, it was a pleasure. Like I said, y'all, this is part 1 of part 3. And listen, we're gonna end it on that note. Stephanie, I'll give you a call tomorrow, and then not even tomorrow. What I do is I'll start working on the editing of this. Yes. And then I'll start chopping it up and stuff like that. I'll start sending you stuff. I got your info, and then that's it. I want to thank you.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a great day, okay?
Peace and love, everybody. This is AI News with Eric. Peace and love.
Bye.